Shalom, shalom. What's good? Getting things started here. Quick mic check. Anybody in the chat? If the audio sounds good, let me get a 1 in the chat. Mic check, mic check. All right, for sure. What's up, Tyon, the Water King? Give me one moment. We'll be right back. Let me get a couple brothers in here that we need to get this going. Oh, Salakia, the Water King. I was on mute there, right? What I was saying, just as a recap, this week we going over another gem from the couch that captivity created. We're going to be going over episode number 49, right? From Couch That Captivity Created on the Sakari LBC Wolfpack YouTube channel, right? We've been doing Couch That Captivity Created a couple years now. So we decided to create a little spin-off supplemental show to just go back, comb through the archives and point out some gems that we've, you know what I'm saying? We just had to go back and bring it back out, right? Because we do that ourselves. We go through the archives and study. So Brother Apiyak is joining us in a second here. I'm getting him situated backstage. But just for the reference, the episode that we're going over is episode 49. And if you look in the description, you'll see a reference to that episode and some time code that we're going to bring out. So we're going to go through that time code, those little timestamps throughout there, and bring out some points, right? But I'm gonna do it like this. First and foremost, I want to give Kal Halal Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, right? That's all praises to the Most High God in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai Hamashiach, right? Who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. You see what I'm saying? We are the sect of Sakari in the city of Long Beach, Sakari LBC Wolfpack, and we come out here day in and day out trying to get this truth out and trying to feed the flock, right? And one good thing we realize is the flock is hungry, right? You know what I'm saying? It might be scattered, but when we do find the sheep that hear the voice of the Most High God, right? They hungry and they eating and we eating, right? And that's the goal. The goal is for this flock to get fed and fat and fit for Yahweh Shai to return and get us out of this wicked kingdom, Babylon, which will be destroyed by the hand of the Most High God, right? So let's see what we got here. Shalom Gamal, powerful war dog Gamal. We had a good time out there. Yesterday, Wolfpack went out to Riverside, right? Our close brother camp. You see what I'm saying? We was out there, showing support to brother Lahat, Shaquad, War Dog Gazah, and all the soldiers out there in Riverside. And it was a good day. It was a blessed day because downtown Riverside was jumping. It's a lot of activity. People was everywhere. We edified some people, got this word out, and got together for New Moon and enjoyed a New Moon feast, a holy convocation together as brothers. So that was a beautiful thing, right? It was about 25 deep out there. Tamiyan was out there, right, with his rib and his son. Beautiful thing, you know what I'm saying? His son on the line, receiving this knowledge. Hey, asking heavy questions like, hey, this young brother was studying. I'm excited to see that keep going, because that's what it's about. That's what it's about. It's about passing it on to our sons. And it's about shining that light so that our sons and their sons can pass it on. You see what I'm saying? And find this salvation. It's a beautiful thing. All right. So, Akim, this is what I want y'all to do. Make sure you like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. Leave comments. Do what you can just to help a little bit. Smash that like button. Share it with your friends, your family, your associates on your social media. Let's get this word out. Let's get these numbers up real quick and get this room pumping so we can get cracking. All right. Give me a quick moment. All right. I'm going to set a couple things up and I'll be right back. Yes, sir. Absolutely, Tamiyan. Yo, that young man is very studious. You see? And let me bring up Officer Apiyak right here. Officer Apiyak, Shalom King.
Shalom. Had a little bit of technical difficulties, but we should be all right now.
All praises. Hey, I know your camera just went out, but this is a visual crowd. So if you know what I'm saying, if you want to show the powerful mane, feel free.
It's that shot was actually camera. So they got to pick.
What was that, King? One or the other.
Camera or audio tonight, Doc. Next week we'll have a better setup.
Got you. Yeah, we saving bandwidth. That's what's up. I got you. But yeah, Apiyak, I was just introing what the topic is and kind of the premise of what we're going over today. But without further ado, I'll go ahead and let you kind of give us the intro, right? Since this is the body of your work you went through and kind of isolated things on this and brought out some points, right? So give us a breakdown on what you're going to go over.
So in the spirit of what this class is about, I was going through the backlog videos and I was just noticing a pattern of how many gems can come out in just one sitting, right? Just any one of these videos, especially the longer ones. There's a lot of information buried in these videos. So I just wanted to give a sample of how a lot of these topics are touched on in these classes. And I was going to give a little presentation to show you some video. We were going to talk back and forth with the audience, get them involved, just so we can really present this, and this might encourage people to really go back into those back videos and dig through them and find these gems and jewels.
And that's important, man. Like you said, I got to highlight it on the screen right here. This is the screen grab of that episode, right? We got the young lion reading for Sarge. Sarge rocking the he rocking the what he rocking up here up
that's the casual sophisticated look. I don't know, he got the
right. The all black with a hint of blue. You got to check Sarge out. See, that's one thing. If y'all don't know Sarge is the man of fashion, right? You know what I'm saying? He gonna match top to bottom. You see what I'm saying? But the word I was going for, King, escaped my mind. I don't know why, but he rocking the Mitri on this one, right? Which give you that look of sophistication. You know what I'm saying? It give you that priestly look. He rocking the Mitri. He probably got the blue ones on, all black, some blue in the tassels, and a blue watch. Just to let y'all know, Sarge don't play when it come to matching, man. He'll let you know quick, right? He done got the fashion level done went up in LBC. I can tell you that, thanks to Sarge. All praises.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, this is the screenshot, and up y'all. What if you want to go over the first point, we could jump right in, or you want to intro some more, or anything else to add before we get going?
No, because the intro, I'm gonna let Sarge intro who to do it better than the guy who is actually teaching in these videos. So we're just gonna go straight to the 10-minute mark, and we're gonna let it run for a couple minutes, and then we'll get it. We'll just do the commentary on what we're seeing and what's going down as we watch the portions of these clips.
Right. So without further ado, right, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go to the 10-minute mark, and we're gonna start there. And chat, just let me know what's good. If the audio is good, hit me with some ones. If it's red alert, let me know. All right. Without further ado, here we go.
Count, y'all. You know what I'm saying? That's it on that, right? Con. So I said the other day I wanted to answer various questions and such, right? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about something first. And it's something that I continuously hear on a regular. It's like, we got to keep the laws of the land. A brother said, would a sister, who was that?
Throw some ones up if the audio is good, chat.
Get a good band from here. All right? A brother asked on a social media platform if a sister would visit him in jail, and one sister said, "You're in jail and you're on a phone, and you're on this social media platform. You should focus on keeping the laws of the land before you get in trouble." And I'm just like, focus on keeping the laws of the land before you get in trouble. That's the advice you have for him, right? Take out of your mind all of the people that have committed murders and crimes and this, that, and the other, right? What about those brothers and sisters that are sitting in there unjustly, right? Wasn't they keeping the law? Wasn't they keeping the law of the land when they wasn't committing none of these crimes that they were convicted for? So when people make stupid ass statements like that, right? You gotta check them, right? I'm gonna show you where they go. Am I gonna show you where they go first? Is that where I'm trying to go? No. Malachi 3 and 6. Because someone said, you know, I said something, and someone said,
right? So this the first point he gonna bring out is Malachi 3 and 6, right? So if y'all following along, you can bring that precept out. But we're gonna go over the precepts. Apiyak gonna give a breakdown on the precepts as we go. So Apiyak, anytime you ready for me to pause it or whatever, just give me a shout. But
I was too that was the point. That and on having a when he was going to questions and answers in a class, but when he gets a class, been on it that he wanted to get following the law as opposed to following the law, and just to bring it out how it's none of this will be teaching people how to model.
You breaking up a little bit up. Your signal just went down a couple bars. I got the gist of what you were saying. Basically, what you were saying is when we was planning this particular class, it was just going to be general topics. But when we got there, Sergeant had a conversation with someone, and we switched gears and went in to keep the laws of the land, right? If that's the gist of it. But, you know, give me your feedback on that, and let me see if your signal boosted up a little bit. You cutting out a little bit.
Damn it. Let me see if I around and try to.
Right, so yeah, and that's a good point that Officer Apiyak made is a lot of times, especially when you're going live, things come up, topics change. You know what I'm saying? You got to be swift on the feet. You got to be agile, like they say. You know, you got to be able to adjust because, you know, the equivalent of that will be like if we teaching on the line, and you know, let's say I know I got to teach on Saturday. And I spent my time all throughout the week putting this lesson together, and I got all my points in order, and I know what I'm about to talk about and what I'm going to go over, and if somebody say this, I'm going to say that, and I got it written down on the outline. I'm going to hit all my bullet points, and then we get to camp, and let's say a brother or a sister show up, and they have a question that has nothing to do with the lesson I put together. We have to be ready, right? We have to be ready, and this is the point Apiyak was making is, you know, study thyself, you know, to show yourself, study to show thyself approved. You know, don't take it as like, okay, I'm gonna study and I'm gonna take this test and I'm gonna forget it. Study to show thyself approved and be ready to spread that word and be ready to edify whoever the Most High put in front of you, right? Perfect example of that, and Tom Yam, he'll testify to this. You know, we was at camp yesterday, going back and forth. You know, heathen came through. I had to put him in his place. We had a beautiful build with a sister that just walked up and just fresh, basically just hearing the truth, right? Just start hearing the truth. Barely knew a little bit. She knew as much to know that she was an Israelite, but I was able to switch gears and just bring out just a little bit of the milk. The stage one Similac. You see what I'm saying? Who we are, keeping the law, right? What's required of us? Why we in this situation? You see what I'm saying? Like Tommy said, hey, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. You see what I'm saying? And that's the whole point, because look, last night, after I switched gears from that, I noticed Tommy son and his homie, they were standing there attentive, listening to the whole deal. So I asked the young king some question, and it just, when he responded to my question, it was just, the spirit was like, you know what? Let me say this to that young bro. And what the discussion we had was pertinent to what he was going through at that very moment in his life, through the spirit, right? And then we talked about it on the line, but we also sat down and had a build, and, you know, over dinner and our holy convocation, we had a build like, yeah, man, you know, that was something I was dealing with. So through the spirit, right? when you follow these law, statutes, and commandments, and you do the work diligently, meaning studying the word, living, not just being hearers of the word, but being doers of the word, build your spirit up, and the Most High gonna guide your steps. You see what I'm saying? I think we got Apiyat back. Hey, Apiyat, let me get a mic check. Let me see what that signal boost is like.
What I'm saying?
You sounded excellent, and then it cut out. It sound almost like it's an audio thing.
Is it audio? Am I sounding bad?
No, you sounding good. It's just every a word or two here and there cut out. So you might just have to take it one small sentence at a time. But go ahead and you can restate your point, and then we'll continue on as soon as you get your point in.
I'm gonna talk and drink. So Sarge was coming to class, and he had to do Q&A. Then for whatever reason, it was on his to come in keeping that story, right? It compelled him enough to want to come and talk. So
Right.
I first part to play and he had
Con. Yeah, it's about every 3 or 4 seconds is breaking up.
Yeah, we
every
got
3 or 4
I'm gonna keep working on it. Video
Con.
play.
I'm gonna let it roll to the next clip, right? And then we're gonna do it like that.
Yeah, Baba. Oh, before he even got into it, for moving around, we had a guest. That's what made it. I wanted to start talking about the laws. We gonna get it today. Sarge did just read. You know what I'm saying? Can you just Genesis? It's real quick.
Was that King? You want to pull out Genesis?
20. Read.
Genesis what?
26. We're gonna read 24. And this is out the most I can and just get him some structure.
I'm gonna bring that out and then check on that signal, King, because it's breaking up a little worse now. I'm gonna bring out Genesis. You said 26, 4 and 5, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm gonna bring that out real quick. Let's get that. All right, let's bring that out. All right, so we got the book of Genesis, chapter 26, and we're going to start with verse 4. And I will make thy seed to multiply as the stars of heaven, and will give unto thy seed all these countries, and in thy seed shall all the nations be blessed. In verse 5, because that Abraham obeyed my voice and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws, right? This is why we get this blessing. This is why we are blessed, because of Abraham's obedience, right? He obeyed the voice of God. He kept the Most High's charge. He kept the commandments and statutes and the laws, right? He faithfully kept the Most High's charge. And so this is what gives us the blessing. This is what gives us the ability, right, to move forward in life and be prosperous.
You hear me?
Yep, hear you great.
Okay, perfect. So we see here. It says Isaac thing. Because your father had kept the that all their country by
by
his
his
right,
right,
but you don't
but you
see the
don't
most
see the most
that the
that
people in
the
the other
people in the
country
other country
are gonna
are
teach
gonna
him
teach him
their law,
their law,
their
their
um, this
there's
nothing to do
nothing to
with
do with
going and being a
going and
model
being a model
wherever you gonna
wherever
be
you
at.
gonna be at.
The Most
The
High
Most
is
High is
Isaac that
Isaac
his
that his
people blessed
blessed
because
because
Abraham
Abraham
kept the Most
kept the
High
Most High
and
and
his
his.
statutes and his laws and his charge. That's what the whole point of it. It's not about going and being the best person that can assimilate into someone's culture or society. It's about us going to shine our light wherever we're at, being who we're supposed to be in the earth, and that is those commandment keepers. You know what I'm saying?
Con, and that hits the topic, right? Hence the title, keeping the laws of the land. What does that mean, right? It's not, oh, being a good citizen, like Apiok said. It's not, oh, I'm a patriot, I follow the Constitution. No, it's not what it means, right? Render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, but you best break the Most High off. Break the Most High off with His portion, and that's obedience, right? That's following His law, statutes, and commandments, and that's having faith, right? That's what was given to us, and that's what's required of us to receive this blessing. Not being Joe Patriot. A lot of people get that twisted, especially a lot of Christians get that twisted and think that means you better follow the laws of the government. Well, what about when the government said no niggas, spicks, and dogs? What about when that was a law? Well, what about the Constitution as we speak that say that Negroes are 3/5 of a human? Or what about the 13th Amendment that still allows our people to be physically in bondage, enslaved due to the injustice system, right? The imbalanced justice system, right? That's an oxymoron, right? So Apiyak, your audio was good. So King, uh, go ahead, man. Without further ado, break it on down.
So yeah, we're gonna go. I'm trying to get this internet to work for my precepts. I might have to just pull out this hard copy on y'all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you need me to refer to the notes, I can. And then
I'm looking for. I'm about to pull a precept, but
okay,
just give me like literally 1 second. I don't know why this thing is giving me
no
so many
sweat, no
problems.
sweat. And in the meantime, chat, like I said, this is how we like to do it. We like this to be interactive. So we got the general concept of what's going on. Keep the laws of the land. What does that mean? Right? And here's a good exercise. For one, who can show me the precept where Christians go to and say, look, see, you're not supposed to break the white man's rules. Keep the laws of the land. Where can we go to? We already know the Christian's gonna go to Paul. That I'll narrow it down for you. But somebody bring that out for me. Where does this come from? Keep the laws of the land. I'll give y'all 30 seconds. Precept. Let's see what we got in the chat. Let's see chat. It's the chat is a little slow today. I don't see no response. Right, Apayak look like we just gonna have to bring it out for him. Right. Let's go ahead and bring it out then. You
So
got your precept, King?
yeah. Let's get Nehemiah 9 and 13, and I'm gonna read through it.
For sure.
So it says, are you playing it on the screen? You gonna pull it up on the screen or not?
Yeah, I just brought it up.
All right. Now watch. It's Nehemiah 9 and 13. It say, "Thou camest down also upon Mount Sinai, and spakest with them from heaven." Clearly, they're talking about Israel. This is talking about Israel, right? It says, "And gavest them right judgment and true laws, good statutes, and commandments." Right. So we understand that there's going to be laws and judgments in the land wherever you go. You know what I'm saying? There's going to be
Con.
statutes everywhere you go. I'm cutting out?
No, you good, King. You good.
Oh, through water. I thought you said I was cutting out. I was about to be upset. Where it's saying that we were given right judgments, right? Where we didn't see right judgments coming up out of the encomienda system in for the Northern Kingdom when they was putting Spaniards over them. It wasn't right judgment to where they were working. They were yielding all the harvest, but then another nation was coming and spoiling for that harvest. The nation that was in the authority, they were spoiling our Northern Kingdom brothers, and those that the judgment to do that, whoever was in authority that made that happen, that wasn't a right judgment. It was a judgment, but it wasn't a right judgment, right? Or
Con,
just no niggas, no dogs, and no Mexicans, right?
con,
How you gonna put up an establishment on a land that you stole from somebody, but then you gonna say they not even allowed to come in the building, or the people who slaved to get you the resources, to gather your resources and probably even build your establishment, who did the actual labor building your establishment? How you gonna say that they can't even come in the establishment and that they're not welcome on their own shit? Excuse my
that
language
part,
is
that
again,
part.
right? That's right judgment. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, like I'll be out. Like they can say, the caucasity.
The freaking caucasity. How dare you? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
How dare you tell me where the people who built these things and who established these things and who was here first, how dare you to say that they can't or they can come into the establishment and this by all right should be theirs. See what I'm saying?
con, con.
So yeah, it's like these are the points we've always known that our laws and our judgments, right? True laws. We have true laws. America, America has laws interspersed throughout this whole country that you will find out are wild and crazy laws. Sarge is gonna get into them. Then you have
Right,
normal federal laws, right? You have federal law that says cultivating so many amounts of marijuana is illegal, but then now legally people can cultivate and distribute that same substance, which we might not believe that it's something you're supposed to get into when it comes to recreational drug usage, but we do understand that the government has once outlawed this type of practice, and now they're saying for a cash grab, and because their economy needs it, oh, it's all right. So that's not necessarily a true law because it's not based on anything, you know what I'm saying, but their control and them
yeah,
being able to tell you today
it's a
is good, it's bad.
selective judgment, right?
Con,
It's right when they want it and wrong when they don't. And look, look at the beauty of this precept that you brought out, Apiyak. It's something that I was bringing out last week. Is how etymologically and with the way our culture, the way the Hebrew language works, a lot of things are reiterated in duplicate and triplicate, right? Just to hammer a point. And look at this. If we look at the synonyms used here, right judgments,
talk about it.
true laws, and good, right? Right, true, and good, in and of itself, when we look behind the language, it all goes back to righteous, which goes
Con,
back to, according to the laws. You see what I'm saying? So you
right,
can see
right.
the beauty of the language here by the prophet Nehemiah, just to bring out a little point.
That's right.
Hey, Shalom, Tarai, Soldier Tarai, playing upon table, Shalom, King. Glad to see you in here. You feel me? Apayak, you want me to continue on at a certain time stamp, or you got another point?
No, I just wanted to bring out that quick precept, to
Okay.
go with what Sarge was saying, so we can get right back into it.
Okay. Let's see. So we started out at the 10-minute marker, right?
Mm-hmm.
We just played that. Now I know the next stamp we want to get to continues from here, and I'm gonna let it run for about a minute, and then I know you want to jump in, so we're gonna get right back into it. Chat, for y'all that just jumped in, we going over the gem from the couch for this week. We're going over episode number 49 of Couch Captivity Created on the Sakari LBC Wolfpack YouTube channel. Couch That Captivity Created episode number 49, and the topic is keep the law of the land, right? So we just did a brief intro. Y'all ain't missed too much, but whatever you did miss, you can always go back and rewind, right? But we're going to get into the very first precept right here that Sarge brings out. So let's get to it.
So, so So, I said the other day I wanted to answer various questions and such, right? No, Malachi 3 and 6, because someone said, I said something, and someone said, I wasn't around in BC or AD. So you're telling me you weren't around after Christ's death? Isn't that what this is right now?
Salaki, I got too many tabs open. Hold on. Let's see what we got going on here. Because I hear the audio, but it's not playing. So that means that's the wrong tab. Salaki, Akim. You get the right tab open for y'all.
I wasn't around in BC or AD. So you're telling me you weren't around after Christ's death? Isn't that what this is right now? Intelligence is a drug that a lot of people just are afraid to take. You know what I'm saying? Go for it. Malachi 3 and 6. Yeah, this is how we started. This is our premise.
This is the book of Malachi, chapter 3 and verse 6. For I am the Lord, I change not.
I am the Lord, I change not. As it is written, for I am the Lord, I change not. Go ahead.
Therefore, ye sons of Jacob are not consumed.
That's why we here in 2021 still. If you leave it up to your oppressors, you leave it up to those people that don't want you to stand up or fight for your freedom in a sense, right? They would have you dead. That's what they want. They want you to be passive and dead, right? Read that again. But guess what? As it is written, for I am the Lord, I change not. Therefore, ye sons of Jacob are not consumed. You are not dead. You are not perished for your wickedness. The Most High still got you around because he promised that one day he's going to save us. That's the promise that we have. No matter what we've done, because it wasn't based off of doing right or wrong. It was based off of the promise he made to Abraham. That's it. That gives you the opportunity for the kingdom. That gives you the peace of mind of knowing that no matter what our people have gone through, we will be liberated. Because if you look at society right now, you can never think that.
And I think that was a point too, where you had made a mark where you wanted to kind of bring something out. So what you got on that? Because that's right there is definitely a gem that we need to make sure our people know to have that bullet in the chamber. Because people can give up hope. just thinking about how far we strayed away, and you know how wicked this world is, and think, man, I don't even deserve a chance. I might as well just YOLO. But what's your thoughts on that, King?
Yeah, and that was the point. Like, and you seen on the master note sheet, the master timestamp. Let me tell you, Sarge is making points through and through in these classes, and brothers have to be mindful. You have to listen with that keen ear to understand. Sarge gonna be dropping game on you the whole time. I'm telling you, brother Bazak, he really do. He really do come with it. You know what I'm saying? So y'all got to understand these classes are not for play, and we're really going into we're going into the teaching to the best of our ability, right? So real quick, just since you said what would I get into that? To be honest, let's get Titus 3 and 5 real quick, because he was talking about how it was basically by a promise, and that this is our hope, and we do have hope because we all come from being raised up in the land where there were obscure laws, and then the law of our God and the law that was passed down to our fathers. We weren't raised knowing these things, so that's literally the whole point of the promise, and then the new kingdom and salvation. That's all based on the fact that we had to have we had to have mercy and repentance to be established for Israel, because we were already foretold to be exiled from the land and to go through these captivities ever since the beginning. You know what I'm saying?
Con,
Even when
con,
Abraham first, right? I believe that's Genesis 15. Even when Abraham, Salakia, yeah. Even when Abraham had first heard from the Most High, he didn't know who was going to be his heir. He was going to just give his property away to the niggas that was around, and the Most High said, "Nah, I'm gonna give you an heir, and you gonna have seed in abundance and all these things." And in that same time, when the Most High had established that he would give a seed to Abraham, he then told Abraham, "Yeah, them niggas gonna go in 400 years. They gonna be in another people's land." You know what I'm saying?
that
So he
part.
immediately, ever since we've been the chosen people, as far as Israel, right? Ever since Israel, even before we were established, it was always foretold that we was going to go into captivity, and it seems like captivity is a common pattern that we have to deal with. So I feel like Titus 3 and 5 is one of the it's one of my big guns that I'll pull out to show this is something we're supposed to have knowledge of, and we're supposed to deal with this on our walk.
That part, right? Let me bring that out. That's a beautiful precept because, look, we don't deserve it, but we got it by the grace, right? So let me
Come.
bring that out. This is the book of Titus, chapter 3 and verse 5. Not by works of righteousness which we have done, but according to his mercy he saved us by the washing of regeneration and renewing of the Holy Ghost.
So you have to understand the washing of regeneration, right? We have to make ourselves clean, right? It's Isaiah 1, right?
Con,
The thing is, we teach this. We teach that baptism is being washed in the water of the word, Ephesians 5.
con,
We teach these things. But
con.
people really understand it's not saying that you're not supposed to be righteous. What it's saying that we've all went a time of not being righteous.
Right,
We don't hold that against ourselves, that you've been wicked, so stay in your filth, right? You're supposed to repent. You're supposed to turn away from that filth and go and pursue the walk that God had ascribed for us. See what I'm saying? Don't wallow in your sorrows or feeling sorry for yourself. Get your ass up and start walking rightly. See what I'm saying? The
that
way we're
part.
supposed to walk, the way we should carry ourselves. Ever since we received the law, we've known that the way we're supposed to walk is according to the law that the Most High gave us. And we don't serve a carnal God who's this low level thing. Like, God didn't tell you when you wake up, take 2 steps, and before you touch your door, do this ritual. Like, that's how Islam and all these other
Right,
religions are, right? Our walk is just our walk that we're on is just to abide by these certain laws and guidelines of dealing with your neighbor or commerce in your community, right? Or there is ceremonial laws that we have to keep up with in feast days, but you don't have to do any robotic type movement or robotic type planning throughout your day. You gonna walk throughout your day and do what you do. You just have to walk within the guidelines. See what I'm saying?
Con, con,
Those
con.
guidelines are the law. You know what I'm saying?
Beautiful precept. And yeah, that's like bring to mind when the Pharisees tried to admonish Christ for not washing his hands. Ironically, the word washing, right? For not washing his hands before they ate the bread. And Christ was like, look, man, don't give me these tradition of man and try to tell me about the law. And he broke it down for him. But that's crazy because that's one of those rituals that the Jewish people do, right? They had a little water basin sitting next to their bed. And then as soon as they wake up, they pour the thing one time and literally they wash it, they pour it and they wash. And it's like a ritual, like Apiak was saying, or like how, in Islam they got these certain rituals that they gotta do. It's not robotic like that. The walk is the work. Your works is how well you do according to what the Most High God say, right? So let's see what timestamp we at, Apiak. We
Probably
just went to right at 14 minutes.
right. And I believe we
Yeah.
finna hit the 40-minute marker. Oh no, real quick. See, yeah, this was another one of them jewels. See, I forgot about this. Let's just get
Uh-huh.
15:30 real quick. Let's hit 15:30 and
15:30.
let Sarge make his point.
Okay. I'm gonna let it roll up to that. Yeah, so we're gonna get back into this video and we'll jump back into the discussion shortly after.
You would never assume that. Bad definition of ghetto. In the 1610s, part of a city in which Jews are compelled In the to live. hold on. In the what? 1610s. You're telling me Jewish people was in ghettos in the 1600s? This is the etymology of the word. This is what it means. It's ghetto. Is that what you got when you looked it up? That's the top one, yes. It says that it's a place where the Jews dwell. Yeah, I know. It says it's a place where the Jews dwell, right? Correct. Do you think that the Jewish people live in the ghetto? I mean, it's an answer to this point. Yeah. I think ghetto's like basically a region of a town. Of course. So like ghetto has a stigma connotatively now it means like black. But anywhere that's out there with something it's by the ghetto. But watch, they don't consider that with anybody else. That's suburban. Yeah. It's us. We're urban, even if we're in the suburbs, because we the ghetto. You don't ever hear someone say, "Man, Jewish people so ghetto." No, they talking about us. See, it's written, but because of the semantics, we would assume that it could be talking about this or talking about that. But the Most High gave us the knowledge to know that they always been talking about us. Just like the definition of Neanderthal. What is a Neanderthal? It's a Greek version of Homo sapiens. Now watch. What did you just that evolved from where? Caves, right? A caveman. And what's a Homo sapien? When you break it down, a Homo sapien is a human. You understand? See, this the game they played. A human and a cave dweller. When you break down human, it's what? Thank you. But when you did break down a Neanderthal, a cave dweller, it's someone that was living in caves. We can show you how the so-called white man was pushed into caves. The Caucasus Mountains of Georgia, Russia.
Is that part of the story of Jacob?
Jacob.
I heard the story. So I'm not sure.
We're talking that's the story of Esau, the brother of Jacob. Yeah, no. That's, when you hate something enough, you'll demonize them, right? Which is what they did with us, right? They weren't made in caves. They was our half brother, and we went our separate ways, and eventually, due to circumstances, they were pushed into a certain region. There's no such thing, is my premise. You see what I'm saying? They're just words that tell you the truth without realizing it. Because a Neanderthal, which would be a cave dweller, a human is a humanoid, right? Someone, a person of color, right? Black don't come from white. So the Neanderthal couldn't come before. They couldn't predate them. You understand? It's just words. So you smart. So I can't break that down. You know what I'm saying? You got words. You got words. He's a wordster. Yeah, it's a dog, right? I know, Pomeranian, yeah. But why I say that is this, right? We know that according to what we believe, the world has been around for 12,000 years, right? But they would have us to believe that it's been around for millions of years. So how would they test that? They can't. Because even if they cut a tree, there's only so many rings. You understand? They can't carbon date anything. They can't, listen, it's faulty. We're so against them, but they're the scientists. They're the brains of the earth. They have the resources. So who do we go to for the information? It's them. But that's why we say when it's all laid out, we can see what they're saying and we can tell the truth. You understand? Because if it wasn't for them saying, well, because isn't that a part of the evolution? Going from one thing to the next? When they show that image? And how do they force feed you? Okay. They're in control of it. You understand? So what we can do, all we can do is take what they teach us and go ahead. Of course. But when you have no power,
I think we have no power because we relinquished it over a period of time for generations. And it's like it feels odd to put ourselves together in a system where it's designed for us to fail. And history's been so distorted that so much tangible things have been it's
lost.
Lost.
Yeah.
So it's odd to find this vision of a utopian world in harmony when we have such a detrimental past.
Of course. And that's why there is no hope. That's why we have no hope at times. You know what I'm saying? You seem like a brother that is somewhat well versed on different aspects, right? But guess what? Everybody ain't reading things. Everybody's not what am I looking to say? Everybody's not investigating. Everybody's not Uh, huh? You can say research, inquisitive. A lot of people are not trying to find out, right?
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
even placing in stagnant trenches of like
Of course.
electricity and stuff.
You know, it is to be so damn stagnant for the last so and so and so. So, you know, the reason I say that is because when we have history to go off of, right, which is the scriptures, it's your history, your present, and your future, all laid out, all written down. The stuff that matter, right? And it also tells you how to go and deal with things, right? So that's the point of this whole lesson today, which is about just uh, the keeping of the laws of the land. Because people will tell you, you got to keep the laws of the land. Da, 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 da. We tell people, keep the laws of the Most High.
Right, Upper Young. I think right there is where he's starting to get into that point. But that was kind of the back and forth. I remember that episode, Upper Young.
Right.
That's the sister that live upstairs. Her folks came downstairs, right?
Con.
And the brother had, he had some interesting thoughts. Let's just put it that way, right? A little eccentric, but he was asking Sarge, well, wasn't the white man created in a cave and by the Dr. Big Brain? I don't know the whole, I don't know that whole spiel, but he was on that, right? Talking about
Right.
the white man being a creation somewhere by some big brain scientist in a cave. I think that was his line of reasoning. And Sarge was like, look, you got that from somewhere. Matter of fact, you got that from your oppressors, from your enemies. But here's what we go by. Here's if it doesn't measure up to these law, statutes, and commandments and the testimony of the voice of God, then it doesn't pertain to us, right? That's if it doesn't add up to that, we don't follow it. I think is the point.
Con.
But
Most
yeah,
definitely. Because
is that about where you wanted to kind of interject, or you want to keep it rolling?
yeah. You making the point. That definitely is a bunch of garbage. But the whole thing is that's where their dialogue started. At that point, when Sarge brought up the definition of ghetto, and then he went into it.
Mm-hmm.
That's when the brother had started, asking questions. That's when the brother woke up. Whatever Sarge said about the ghetto activated him. There was something about that definition. He had
Mm-hmm.
an input, and that's when he went live. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that literally steered the direction of this class from there. And it turned into a Q&A class. Sarge actually ends up making that point like, hey, see, I wanted to do Q&A. I got my Q&A. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
We already jumped forward to a part in their dialogue. It was just a part Sarge already had. He had already prepared when he was going to get into the laws of the land that just don't make sense, right? And that's what the main point I wanted to showcase is when Sarge gets into those laws, because, like I said, he's going to bring out a lot of peculiar laws, and it's not peculiar like Israel, peculiar like don't make any damn sense, right? But these
Right.
are laws that have been officiated and put into place, whether it be statewide or through a local municipality. But these are laws that have laws and ordinances, right? Not right laws and ordinances, just pointless laws that have been implicated in society. And to this day, our people are still trying to figure out if we deserve reparations. Our
Right.
people are fighting for what the crumbs at the bottom, for human treatment. We have a thing called Black Lives Matter. We have a thing called civil rights movement, as if having the right to live in civility or civilly with your neighboring communities and ethnicities, as if that's something that you would have to ask for. The reason we have to ask for these things because the Most High had already told us we were going to be dealing with this type of treatment for
Con,
not keeping His law, statutes, and commandments. You know what I'm saying?
the scriptures say that. It say that you will, what I'm saying, you'll be in a land and speaking a language and worshiping gods that your father didn't know.
Yeah, Kyle, we're gonna touch a couple of those points. Watch. Let's get Deuteronomy 28 and 25 real quick.
Con, let me get that out. Deuteronomy 28, 45,
25.
25.
Con.
Con. Let's bring that out. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and verse 25. The Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them, and flee 7 ways before them. And thou shalt be removed into all kingdoms of the earth.
So this is talking about we will be conquered and ruled over by our enemies, which once again, us going into these captivities consistently is part of the curses. We will never be able to NF what is it? NFA coalition, right? The
Nah,
not
yeah,
around, right?
they're not fucking around.
Come on, and Master
Yeah,
Mix, whatever that brother's name, brother Jay, right? We
yeah,
will never be able to go out there and win a shootout with our oppressors. We not looking to train up brothers to go win a shootout with the oppressors. We training up brothers to get right so the Most High can deliver us from our oppressors. Those of us who are fortunate enough, right? Those of us who are blessed enough will be out there in that day whooping
right,
ass. But not
right.
what we training brothers to do, to go and try to have a fisticuffs or military skirmishes with our enemies, because that's not how it was promised for us to receive salvation, right?
Con,
It was promised that we would be downtrodden and beaten by our enemies and be removed into all these kingdoms for not following the Most High. So it's about coming back to Yahweh, right? So then jump down to 28 now, Baba Kashan.
con. I'm gonna jump there real quick. Real quick. Let me kind of reset everything. I see we got some new people jumped in. Shalom to Rob the Riddler. You already know, King family. Enjoy spending time with you yesterday. It was great to see you. I see Soldier Nasiyak in here. I see Brother Taz Yah. Valerie Galindo. Shalom, sis. Great to have you. All praises. 144K die on your feet. Shalom, King. I finally got to meet 144K last night. It's a beautiful thing. He was attending the camp with us. Broke bread together. All right. All praises to that. And Malak Yakub, Shalom, King. We appreciate you. I don't know if I mentioned, but Soldier Tarai joined the room not too far back. But we appreciate y'all for jumping in. And just as a quick premise or quick recap on the premise, we are pulling out gems from the couch, right? So we went back to episode 49 of the couch that captivity created. And for those of y'all that'll be watching this afterwards, it will be a link in the description to that full video. But we definitely have some timestamps pointed out, and we're gonna keep going from there. So we're gonna jump down to you say which verse, Apiyat?
28.
28. Okay, we getting right back to it. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 28. The Lord shall smite thee with madness, blindness, and astonishment of heart.
Now, I just wanted to go into this real quick because Sergeant Bazak had started talking about the point of what does a ghetto mean and who's in the ghettos. We know that the conditions of living in the ghetto, right? That piece of a city, if you would have looked on the definition when they had it on the screen, how it said a place where people are basically relegated and treated unfairly, literally. Society
Mm-hmm.
knows that the ghetto is the place where you put the minority class, you just shovel them off into a corner, and then you have all reigns to mistreat them and relegate them to subhuman conditions, and the standards of living by which they live are subhuman in nature, right? We understand that us living in those conditions is part of the curses. These curses are a sign on us to identify who we are. So going over these curses, I just wanted to jump into some of these curses and see if we can extrapolate some ghetto conditions in these curses. Because, like I said, you would be hard pressed to show me where the funny hat crew had ever lived in these conditions, and then you would definitely be having your work cut out for you to show me this as a pattern of the type of living conditions that they've lived in, right? Throughout
And that's
this.
the point, King, because the whole point of us going back into prophecy is to say, how does this match you? You see
Right.
what I'm saying? And then
Where
we can
you
even go into just general words and say ghetto, a part of the city, especially a slum area occupied by a minority group or groups. Okay. And then here go Esau said, historically, the Jewish quarter of the city, the Warsaw ghetto. Okay, so Warsaw, correct me if I'm wrong, is Warsaw is in Poland, right? They call,
yeah, but
right? They call it the Warsaw ghetto, and that's the part of the part of the city Warsaw where they brought the prisoners into the to kind of get them ready to put them into the camp or whatever. But just look how the Sergeant Bazak's point was, look how the Most High has made it relevant to us today. When you hear ghetto, it refers to blacks and Latinos in particular, right? When you hear urban or ghetto, everybody know that it applies to us today, right? And look, part of what you were saying, Apiak, is put in or restrict to an isolated or segregated area group. We all know how these cities came about in America. It's post-slavery, post-Civil War, right? Abraham Lincoln said, yeah, niggas, come on up here and fight for your freedom. We'll give you freedom. And then brothers came up from the South, fought the war for the North, and played a significant role in overtaking the Confederacy, right? But guess what happened? See, let's say the Civil War ended what? 1860 what? 5? The Civil War around that time. By the 1890s, or shortly after that, black folks was given plots of land. One city in particular that we can make a direct correlation to, right? Because one of the pitched battles was right there in that Virginia, D.C. area, in the Arlington area, because that's where, the Arlington House, right? Where they got all of the graves. Everybody knows Arlington, Virginia has all the military graves, right? That's a famous visual, all those little white gravestones, right? And the tomb of the unknown soldier and so on and so forth. It's like one of the national monuments. But what people don't realize is Arlington, Virginia was also the home of Robert E. Lee. That house that sits right there in front of the Arlington National Cemetery is also Robert E. Lee's mansion, right? Where he kept slaves. In fact, where his slaves built that property, brick by brick, engineered that property, brick by brick, right? Where Robert E. Lee used to be used to be in the Marines for the United States. He turned coat and became one of the leading generals in the Confederacy. Literally. And guess what? Guess how intertwined it is? They got Robert E. Lee's mansion in front of the National Cemetery where they honoring all their fallen soldiers. The irony of these crackers, man. It's just mind-blowing. And then another little known fact, Robert E. Lee, the slaves that he owned, he got those slaves from his wife, who inherited those slaves from her father, right? Robert E. Lee's father-in-law, guess who it was? Good old George Washington. Yes, he married George Washington's daughter. The irony. So you see how these folks is all intertwined, right? So we go up there, we fight the war, or the niggas, the freed slaves, we go up there, help fight for the Union, beat the Confederacy, and then not even 15 years later, well-grown establishments, well-established communities are beginning to sprout up in the DC area, namely in the area by where the Pentagon is right now, called Foggy Bottom, right? Because the white man was already ramping up by the time, you know what I'm saying, the turn of the century came, by the time 1900 came, they already knew they was going to start ramping up for war, and they kicked niggas out from their well-established communities, right? Kicked them out and then redlined them into a square area called Baltimore. Look up Baltimore, Akim and Agwath. It's damn near a square. It's one of the few unincorporated municipalities in that region, in the DC area, and it was specifically to put niggas in. Specifically. So we went from the plantation to the ghetto. And it's part of their plan, and they understand what they're doing. It's not no secret. The only thing is we ain't aware. We think this just some circumstance that just happened. You gotta get that oil so you can turn on the light and see what the map say. You feel me? But I know that was a little diatribe, but I wanted to bring that out because you brought out a great point. You know what I'm saying? And how important words and understanding the meaning behind the words and how our enemy try to twist it to get our mind off the goal. But yeah, so we was just at Deuteronomy 28. Up, you had anything else you wanted to bring out before we go on to the next point?
I'm going to go into 28 and 29 again, but I just wanted to add, while you brought all that out, I just thought it was funny how you were saying the facts of Robert E. Lee marrying Washington's daughter.
Yeah.
Ulysses Grant is the one who defeated Robert E. Lee, right, in the Civil War. So
right.
The coldest part about that is Ulysses Grant and Robert E. Lee served together in the Mexican-American War.
Right, as Marines.
You know what I'm saying? They stole the land from Issachar.
Yeah.
Come on, man. You can't make this up.
You can't make it up. You can't make it up. It's almost like they gaslighting. Right. And they still do that to this day. Like you'll see the Congress, they'll have these arguments, right? And they'll be going at it, filibustering and arguing all day, and bang the gavel, stop arguing. And then you think, man, these dudes, man, they going at it, right? Look like they about to go to blows. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody about to get a 3-piece. Yeah. And then you turn around and these niggas is going out after the session to have dinner and lunch.
And crack jokes about it. Oh, we really riled them up.
Right.
Come on.
That part, King. But yeah, let's go. Let's continue. You say you want to go all the way to you want to go back to 28 and 29?
Yeah. Just to make this quick point, I wanted to really get into that whole in these curses, like I said, Sarge was talking about the ghetto. Now, you can read for yourself. Literally, we can do a class, which we might have to do one of these Sundays, even though we have a lot of back catalog. We might have to really just go through Deuteronomy 28, and we can actually extend that through a few, because these curses are damn near all about the ghetto. I'm talking about from the sore and the botch, like out, and just the sickness. I mean, it's tailor-made for these niggas and these spics. You know what I'm saying? These so-called black these Israelites.
That part.
Tailor-made for us and our transgressions. Let's get it.
Bring that up. Going back to Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 28. The Lord shall smite thee with madness, blindness, and astonishment of heart. And thou shalt...
Right. I mean, literally, right off the rip. Madness, blindness, and astonishment of heart. If that's not the way we think, if everything is not, if damn near 90% of all of the moves we make in our day-to-day lives living in the ghetto specifically are based on fight or flight reactions. I mean, we're just running around like we've built a culture. We call it the culture, but the culture is literally a culmination of behavioral patterns that we put together and that we're used to just off living as poor people, because we've been conquered and relegated to the corners of society where they could just turn a blind eye to our suffering, which has been which they dumped on us, right?
Right.
So
right.
I have to know that that's a result of what they did to us while we blind and astonished in the heart and mad crazy. We just a bunch of crazy niggas
Hey,
because
look,
of what
it ain't nothing. It ain't nothing to walk through the hood and just hear some nigga just yelling out of his mind. Oh, there go that nigga over there that be out there yelling, howling at the moon. That's an everyday thing. It's an everyday thing to live when you living in the hood. You know, you don't stop, drop, and roll like how they did in the white school when you do the fire drill. You stop, drop, and roll when you hear them pops. You know, or when you see 5-0 hitting the block. You know what I'm saying? Knowing they about to creep on somebody, niggas know to scatter. Like that.
yes, sir.
Niggas don't realize how abnormal that is and how psychologically that plays a role on you to be feeling like prey when you walking around. You see what I'm saying?
Con.
What that does to a human. But yeah, King, I'll go to the next verse. Verse
What's up?
29. And thou shalt grope at noonday, as the blind gropeth in darkness.
Because these
And thou
niggas
shalt
on and these
Mhm.
niggas is reaching. See what I'm saying? That's
Yeah,
us. That's our
con,
people. No one else in the world. Salakia.
con. And thou shalt not prosper in thy ways, and thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee.
So once again, that's a ghetto condition. Brothers is out there trying. I'm telling you, it's brothers out there trying. They might not have the right guidance and they might not have resources, but with the little bit what brothers out there got, they trying to make a way. It just so happens that in the 80s when they was dropping the crack cocaine in the hoods and the guns and they was teaching us how to prosper by means of self-destruction, had they dropped uh business starting kits and grants and loans off in the hood,
That
which has
part.
been proven by all
That,
these so-called black and Latino master's degrees carrying minorities who can't even get goddamn jobs, right? So when you drop off the right tools to us, we gonna use what we got. They started us off by dropping off the tools of our self-destruction, and brothers may do with what they had. It don't make it right, but it make it natural. You know what I'm
that
saying?
part. And look at this quote. Look at this comment from Tajah. He says, I'm a CNA. I'm assuming that's a certified nurse's assistant or something in the medical,
Okay.
right? I'm a CNA and work in the dementia Alzheimer's unit, and I see our people being cursed, but all praises starting to seem uptick and the curse is falling on the other nations, right? And look, that's a valid point. That's a valid point because we was just talking about the drug epidemic, right? We was talking about the drug epidemic, and when Esau came up with this plan, they was like, we gonna drop these drugs on these niggas, and right in the middle of their hood, and we just gonna watch them destroy each other, and then we gonna send the police in there and lock up the ones that we can lock up and murder the rest and let the rest kill themselves, right? That this is their basic plan. But guess what? They didn't realize that crack was gonna spill out to the white neighborhoods.
Right.
And had little white boys trying to come to the hood. Look, I remember at one point in time, Washington, D.C., you could walk to the steps of the Capitol and niggas was booming it out to
Right.
niggas in suits. You know what I'm saying? And so now look what happened with this heroin epidemic and this opioid epidemic. Out of control. Out of control in the white neighborhood. So there's parallels, right? That same affliction that they put on us is spilling out to them, and it's a foreshadowing of the prophecies. Because when our captivity turns, Esau's begins, right?
Hey, look at this. When they were introducing this type of a lifestyle to us, this drug epidemic and this gang mentality and this basically this gutter lifestyle that they gave to us, it's funny how in the media they were showing us all type of imagery and film and even in the music, right? Where they were culturing us to behave like this. And then I just seen, I forget, it was one of these Arab leaders. I saw it on TikTok, and he was saying how in China, actually somebody shared, I think it was that sister for the love of Yah on Instagram, right? She had
Okay,
shared a
yeah,
clip
yeah.
saying how the Chinese are showing images of success and people overcoming things, and images of people just accomplishing goals to build the morale of their youth and teach them how to be people who follow through and do productive things in society.
Mm-hmm.
But what they're showing them Arabs or them Turks, whoever he was, and definitely what they showing the Americans, right? They're showing us how to live pulling pranks and being jokers and doing silly stuff and training
Right.
the young to be whores and training the boys to be irresponsible. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
So where he's complaining on a national level, like, I'm a leader and I just want y'all to know to be mindful of this so we don't get caught up in that trap, which is funny because they've been doing it to niggas for years. Ain't nobody said nothing.
That part.
They encourage it with us. But if it
That
was
part.
happening on, they would have a problem with it. They would hold a national security council about it. See what I'm
That
saying?
part.
We
Yeah.
have no security. We have no council.
Yeah. We had no seat in the UN.
We have
Right.
nothing, bro. We
And
all we
look,
have is law, statutes, and commandments. Telling
that
you.
part. That part. Right. The Most High God. So look. Shouts out to the homie Jeremiah. Right. Good to see you, King, in the building. He made a great point. They out there corporate thugging.
Yeah,
Because
big
it's a
fact.
corporation. It's a confederacy, man. Look, they plans have worked out too perfectly for it not to been coming from a boardroom. And at the same time, we as a people just got to understand who our enemies are. It's not each other. It's not the nigga that look like you that live down the block, or 2 blocks away from you that y'all got beef with. That's not your enemy. It's not the brother that live in the barrio down the street. That's not your enemy. Your enemy's sitting in the boardroom, you know what I'm saying, planning out your demise. You need to get with your people, learn these law, statutes, and commandments, return to the Most High God, and get these curses up off us. See what I'm saying? Because the only thing that can give us relief is the Most High God, and He not going to give us relief till we repent. All right? But what else you wanted to bring out, King?
No, that was it. That was it. I think we dwelt on it enough. I did, I had a list of Deuteronomy 28 curses, but we actually did enough dialogue to where if we don't get to this this 40-minute marker,
Right.
our 9 o'clock budget,
Yeah, I think the next point is at 40 minutes. I'm going to skip over to that, and then we're going to get into that.
Con.
So
And
let me
this was the
cue that
point
up.
of even picking this video. I thought, I mean, if brothers go back and watch the video, I'm telling you, a ton of gems are going to come out. But the concept of when Sarge brought out these laws, statewide and local, that don't make any sense, I thought
Uh-huh.
this would be a real enjoyment for the viewing audience, just so we could have a laugh too, and just let's see.
All right. Great point, King. Great point. I'm gonna go ahead and let that play because we're gonna go into some of Sarge's craftsmanship, which is making something relatable and palatable. That's an actual really painful thing to think about. But watch how Sarge bring this out. I remember this now that you bring it up.
Know that if you purge the evil, that is supposed to make the whole land supposed to be better. Back to I'm gonna have you read these things right here, right? I'm gonna read them. Right? It's not gonna be on there. We're talking about keeping the laws of the land. Let's read some laws. I had a book.
Hey, this good stuff, man. Look,
I don't know where it is now.
y'all gotta,
But it was about
check
laws
this out.
they had after slavery, right? But this is just one law, right? You must pronounce our state name correctly. That's Arkansas. That's the law of the land. You must pronounce the state name correctly. Before you make any plans to visit Arkansas, you better practice the proper pronunciation of the state's name, or you could find yourself in hot water. State code strictly reinforces that Arkansas is pronounced one way and one way only. 3 syllables with the accent on the first and last syllable, and a silent S at the end. They're having none of your Arkansas. Listen, that's a law. That's a law. Pickles must bounce in Connecticut. That's a law. In Connecticut, a pickle can't be considered a pickle nor sold as one unless it bounces when dropped from the height.
Hey, hold on. Hey, Akio, look at the look on Quadoc's face when Sarge read this, and just to let y'all know, we a little bit of a light moment. You know, whenever one of these Christians say, "See, we got to follow the law of the land. We got to follow the government's laws." That's what that means. Sarge is just pointing out some of the folly that's actually on the law books in some of the states throughout the United States, right? So he's going through this book or this website that's listing all these actual laws that are still on the books in a lot of states. And so he just went through Arkansas, right? Look at the look on Quadoc's face.
Listen,
Hold on.
that's a
Look, watch the look on Quadoc's face
3 syllables with the accent
when he start talking about
on
the pickle.
first and last syllable, and a silent S at the end. They're having none of your Arkansas. Listen, that's a law.
All right,
That's a law.
all right. Watch Quadoc's face when he hear this next one.
Pickles must bounce in Connecticut. That's a law. In Connecticut, a pickle can't be.
Hey, up or up. Look at Quadoc's face.
He damn near can't believe it.
That's how we all was. Because we was like, what Sarge got for us today? You know what I'm saying? Sarge always will bring out some stuff that's just, funny, practical, random, to kind of get you thinking and loosening up and really, what I'm saying, taking the lesson in to heart, right? A pickle must bounce. A group of people sat in a room and legislated this and signed it, right? And then passed it on. You see what I'm saying? Hey, Quadoc said, pause on Arkansas. Hey, look, that is possible. All right, here we go.
That's a law. In Connecticut, a pickle can't be considered a pickle nor sold as one unless it bounces when dropped from the height. Listen, I looked all this up. Unless it is nor sold as one unless it bounces when dropped from the height of 1 foot in the air. This state regulation was the result of devious pickle packers selling standard, substandard pickles that obviously didn't bounce. Thus, a new law was born. Also, illegal in Connecticut, keeping town records where liquor is sold, biking over 65 miles an hour, walking backwards after sunset, crossing the street while walking on your hands, educating dogs for a beautician to sing, hum, or whistle while attending to a customer. These are the laws. Not to mention the same-sex laws, the pedophilia laws. These are laws that they passed. So if you're going to sit there and be like, we got to keep the laws of the land over God's laws, that means you can do all these things. You can do whatever you want. As long as they say it's not bad, you can do it. because they are the ones that determine your moral compass. Isn't that how that goes? It's not the minority that determines the moral compass, it's the majority. That's why for 400 plus years they can have us after slavery. I talk about this on a regular. After slavery, you had the law where the loitering law. If you didn't have a job, you go to jail. And because of the 13th Amendment, you couldn't be a slave only if you go to jail. See, it's the game, right? They play off of our ignorance. All of the stuff we got to go through in a day basis. You think we're sitting there looking up different laws to not go to jail? That's why laws change every single day. Every single day, and you'll never know it because it's not broadcasted. That's why the Most High tells us, be not ignorant of any matter, great or small. And he also says, if any man be ignorant, let him be ignorant. It's crazy. Another one. For you brothers out there in Georgia, in Gainesville, Georgia, no eating fried chicken with anything but your fingers. In Gainesville, Georgia, finger-licking chicken is not just a catchy slogan. It's literally the law. Since 1961, it has been illegal to use utensils to eat fried chicken in the self-proclaimed poultry state of the world, thanks to a publicity stunt that has remained part of the city code to this day. And don't think they're too chicken to actually reinforce this cockamamie law nowadays. A tourist was arrested for forking his fried chicken in 2009. Also illegal in Georgia, carrying an ice cream cone in your back pocket on Sundays, using profanity. Listen, but these are things people must have had to have done. But listen, that's my assumption. He shouldn't be allowed to do that. Carrying an ice cream cone in the back pocket.
Like, who hurt the person that made these laws?
Bro, they have nothing to do. They got nothing to do. People ain't got nothing to do. Carrying an ice cream cone in your back pocket on Sundays, using profanity in front of a corpse at a funeral home, and keeping donkeys in bathtubs. I sent you that thing, right? In the chat. I'll just go to it. Go ahead. You gotta be loud.
North Carolina, it says it is against the law to sing off key.
A law.
Some of the laws that are on the books right now,
Yeah. Just the laws of the land. Listen, even if it wasn't a law, even if they killed the law 10 years ago, right? Guess what? You still had to deal with it 10 years ago, right? How many brothers got criminal records because of the weed that they used to smoke? And then all of a sudden, when that hypocrite tells you, hey man, you know what? Y'all can smoke weed now. You just got to buy it from us. Listen, does everybody record get expunged who was arrested for smoking weed or selling weed? Or is that stuff still on their records?
Look, profound, right? It is a profound question. You see what I'm saying? Practical and profound. Because Sarge was making the point by pointing out some of the most ridiculous laws and probably some really obscure laws where you go, okay, who is the nigga that complained about the nigga that put the donkey in the bathtub? And then how do you fit an ice cream on Sunday? You put an ice cream cone in your back pocket, but you could do it on Saturday though. It's not Sunday. Like the ridiculous nature of these laws in and of itself was used to make a point. What's what's ridiculous to one person might make sense to another, right? Because obviously this made sense to someone because they brought these laws up and it was literally penned as legislation. But how about like brother Jeremiah caught sharp eye? One of the laws that SARS did mention that pertained to us was the Vagrancy Act that would that would give white people the authority to arrest slaves if they didn't have a job. Like, nigga, you just let us off the plantation. Can I give me a month? You know what I'm saying? Look, how much sense does this make? The Vagrancy Act of 1866, an actual law passed by the General Assembly on January 15, 1866. Brothers was just emancipated, right? And the war had just ended, right? And by January 1866, they passed a law that says forced into employment for a term of up to 3 months. Any person who appeared to be unemployed or homeless, you going back on the plantation. Hard labor. You see what I'm saying? That's their law, right? Is that any more ridiculous than the ice cream law or the donkey law? And frankly, I'm from the South. I'll tend to agree. If I see somebody eating fried chicken with utensils, I'm going to feel a certain kind of way. So, you know what I'm saying? Look. Hey, eating fried chicken with a fork is straight blasphemous, in my opinion, in my humble opinion. You know what I'm saying? Me and Tommy are on the same page, right? But think about it. How much more ridiculous to you is, the donkey and the tub law versus the Vagrancy Act? To me, the Vagrancy Act is just pure folly. Pure folly. And you know that it's some ulterior motive behind it, just like it's ulterior motive to the finger licking good law. Because what it was, finger licking good. You know what I'm saying? Making Kentucky Fried Chicken franchises. So there you go. There's always ulterior motive for the white man's law. Only the Most High law is just. You feel me? Only the Most High law is just and good. Right? So Abba Yap, I know we went through that section. What else did you want to bring out on the timeline? We got a little bit of time, or do you want to kind of open it up for some Q&A or give some breakdowns? We got about 45 minutes till we're going to shut it down. Absolutely, Soldier Gamal, War Dog Gamal. Sound like crafty counsel to me. It sound like some some boardroom thugging, some corporate thugging. My brother Jeremiah, Jeremiah be coming up with the phrases, right? Corporate thugging. They up in that boardroom and they got maps. They redlining maps. They got census lists and addresses and names, and they got your records, your stats. They know this many niggas did that from 2010 to 2020. This how many niggas did this. We're going to have to put a stop to that. We got this many of them niggas locked up on this charge and that charge. They sitting back, man, with all the data and all the stats, craftily counseling, right? Corporate thugging. That's that crafty counsel. You feel me? Upper y'all, you on mute, King. But, you got anything to add?
That was it. That was all I was gonna present for this class. Now, as whoever's in the chat, we could do Q&A, whatever brothers want to get into. And I heard you say 45 minutes, but on my schedule,
I said 15.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a lock it.
You out there selling dreams.
Right. I meant to say it's about 8:45. Right. So look, Sister Denicia Brown, Shalom Queen, or Shalom Princess, Salakia, Denicia Brown in the house. Glad to have you join us today. Yeah, and so at this point, look, it's that's the premise, right? What you need to do is go back and watch this video. And the next part that Sarge gets into really is going to scripture to prove, to show that, look, we are commanded to keep the Most High God's law. And if any of man's law conflicts with the Most High God's law, I'm not keeping it. I'm not abiding to it. You see what I'm saying? The United States government says a man can marry a man in the church. Y'all can go ahead with that. That's not on my books, right? I'm not keeping laws that are go contrary to the Most High God's law, right? So just as a quick wrap up, right? Anybody in the chat, and see, Gamal brought up, that was a great point. That was a good precept. I'm gonna bring that precept out for Gamal, right? We always got to remember that, don't get what they call it, your blinders on. You know how they do them horses when they got the horses walking down the street? They don't want them to be seeing side to side and get spooked out. Don't stay laser focused on the white man, because Ishmael and Moab and Ammon and these Hamites and these Cushites, they are in league together for your demise. And let me bring that scripture out so we can put a point to that. You see what I'm saying? The white man ain't that smart to do it by himself. You see what I'm saying? I was watching a video the other day, and it reminded me of the time, not just the time, but just the consistent theme of, these Koreans and these Chinese, whatever they are, coming over here making these hair supply shops in the hood, and their sisters is going in there getting just disrespected. You buy now, you steal merchandise. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. It's madness. Cush over here setting up liquor stores. Ishmael won't even allow his people to drink liquor, but he got a liquor store. He's selling 40 ounces in Phillies and Swissers, right?
Talk.
Come on, man. Come on. Look, let me bring that precept out, right? It's the book of Psalms, chapter 83, and we'll start at 2. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult. It means they making noise. They're kicking up dust. And they that hate thee have lifted up the head, right? These crackers will proudly walk past you, right? Just like last night, we got a couple dozen brothers standing around holding camp, and this cracker had a nerve to walk by and scoff. Why? Because he got the police down the road and across the street and cameras, and he'll be like, come on, kick my ass. Because, crackers, these, these low down, dirty, despicable fornicators, and in some strange way, they probably enjoy having their ass kicked, right? But he will walk through a group of niggas that's holding camp and provoke niggas, right? Because he got his head lifted up high. Even the lowest, most vagabond, barrel bottom cracker still think he better than the princes of the power. Is caucasity, right? For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. They want you stamped out of existence. This is what they're trying to do in the boardroom. They got their maps and their papers and their stats out, trying to see how to eradicate you, right? Because you're a direct threat to their existence, because your success means their utter destruction, right? For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom, of course, and the Ishmaelites of Moab and the Hagarenes. If this ain't, just look at it. We talked about the ghetto, right? You go to the ghetto, and who's doing all the urban planning? The Edomites is sitting around in the boardroom calling Ishmael, who are these Arabs, giving them building permits and business licenses. Hey, Ishmael, what do you want? You want a liquor store or you want a swap meet? You want a liquor store? Okay, Ishmael, you get the liquor store on this block. Moab, you get the swap meet on this one, right? We'll switch it up on the next hood. Next hood, Moab, you get the liquor store, and then Ishmael, you get the swap meet. All right? Hey, you stinking Hamites, y'all can have a discount mall too down there on Old Nat and Gabi. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? Hey, Gabal and Ammon, right? The Japanese, Amalek, the Jews. Hey, the garment district, yeah, them niggas will buy up yards and yards of material. You know, they good at sewing stuff together, right? It just goes to show how many different nations are in league against us, led by Edom, without a doubt. So definitely a beautiful precept, right? By the war dog Gamal. You know what I'm saying? Let's see what we got in the chat. Sister Denicia Brown, all praises. Glad to be here. And you pronounced my name correct the first time. I have a cousin named Denicia, right? So correct me if I'm wrong, sis, is Denicia, right? Because it's probably a lot of people pronounce that different, but for me, I got a cousin named Denicia, so you know that was just how I pronounce it. Con. I would be curious as to some people. I don't see how some people can butcher that, but maybe that's just because that's my cousin name. But glad to have you in here, sis. All right, Tajah. It says, what's Tajah talking about? It says, I know Chief don't want to do water baptism, but any Sakari would want to. I know it's not necessary, but it would be nice to do it in my faith now. So look, Tajah, there is nothing wrong with getting baptized in water. It's not against the law. It's just that is just an act, right? That was something that John did, the water baptism. But after Christ, now we baptize, you know what I'm saying, through the Spirit, baptized with that fire, with that flame. See what I'm saying? And so being baptized, being born again in Christ is a spiritual thing because it involves repentance, and it involves actually a contrite spirit and a diligence and a dedication to serve the Most High God and do His will and do His work, right? Whereas if you dunk, and see, there's absolutely nothing wrong with having the ceremony of a water baptism if you do these things, right? Like you said, you've been on your walk, you've been increasing your faith, you're actually doing the work, your works are in accordance to what the Most High commanded us, right? So there's absolutely nothing wrong with you having a water baptism. But where a water baptism is useless is if you got a homosexual fornicator and you take him and dunk him in some water, now you got a wet homosexual fornicator. It ain't gonna wash that spirit, right? Brothers got to repent and do the work. That's how you're born again, right? Let's see. Jeremiah, hey King, about to lay the babies down. I feel you, right? Using the gems from the couch as a bedtime story. All praises, man. All praises. Hey, guide them, right? Teach them in the way that they shall go. You know what I'm saying? So that when they grow up, they won't depart. All praises, Jeremiah King. We'll see you, bro. We'll be back out in LBC on Saturday. So we'll hope to see you Saturday, man. All right. All praises, King. You lay them kids down, man, and get you some rest, bro. Glad to see you tuning in, King. It's a good father right there. All right. Con. And look, so another fun fact from Brother Jeremiah. This is a sharp brother. He always got something too. He be coming by camp, chopping it up. He always got some ideas. He a thinking man, right? It says the U.S. Census sees Middle Eastern and North African people as white. And I can see where that's pertinent because look, the Middle East is just a geography, right? So of course you have white people in the Middle East, but this is where the European Union starts to get confusing, right? So Turkey, let's just take Turkey for example. Most of those people are closer to Greeks than Arabs. In fact, they're not Arabs at all. You see what I'm saying? So what are the Turks? And then guess what? The Persians are close to the Armenians, right? In that area. And then they have some lineage from the Russia Caucasus Mountains. Some Persians are actually considered Caucasian. So yeah, I mean,
Jordanians are considered Caucasians.
What was that, King?
Definitely Jordanians
Jordanians are considered, right? So yeah, these classifications, Esau don't know. Because look, Elam is classified as Asian, right? Afghanis and Pakistanis and Indians, meaning East Indians, are classified as Asian because they're technically on the continent of Asia. And then you start getting into, well, are Russians Asians? The white man's classification system don't make no sense. It don't add up. It's just another example of their crooked laws made for their own self-interest. Where these German soldiers and German scientists come up with these classification systems to try to divide the world, right? Part of their plan. You see what I'm saying? Hey, Apayat, I think we hitting that point where we about to reach right up at our time. But I wanted to, you know what I'm saying, let you get a final thoughts, okay? Because I think we had a beautiful class. We brought out a lot. The chat is very interactive, which I love. And you know, we had a good number of people in here, you know what I'm saying, communicating with each other and putting their thoughts up. That's a beautiful thing. We thank you for that. We love you. We do this for you, and we couldn't do it without you because you're our motivation for what we do. Because we love our people, you know what I'm saying? And we want to see our people back to the status where we belong, a nation of kings and priests, right? Nation of kings and priests, above all nations on the face of the earth, like Tajah said, Deuteronomy 6 and 7, right? Or Slakia. I was thinking 7 and 6, but he brought out Deuteronomy 6 and 7. That's another scripture. But Deuteronomy 7 and 6, right? Above all people on the face of the earth, right? Not equal. We don't want equal rights. I don't want to be equal with a cave beast that's not worthy to tie my bootstraps together. You feel me? But what you got, King? What's your shouting, your last shout, your parting words?
Well, I'm gonna let them be
Yeah.
from the Bible.
Come, bring it out, King. What you want me to bring out?
Yeah, this thing is moving slow, but it's in 2 Samuel. It's 2 Samuel 22. I just wanted to make just a quick point, and that's really all I have to say, and it just goes along with the topic. You know what I'm saying?
Come, we'll bring that out.
Just 31.
22 and 31.
Yeah, 2 Samuel 22, and I'm gonna read 31. Then I'm gonna read from 31 to 33, but it's really not a lot.
I got it on the screen, and you, whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and read if you want, or let me know. I'll read it.
Well, just read it, Baba Kashar.
Okay. The book of 2 Samuel, chapter 22, verse 31. As for God, his way is perfect. The way of the Lord is tried. He is a buckler to all them that trust in him. Right?
So watch. Real quick. So, as for God, his way is perfect. The word of the Lord is tried. See what I'm saying? So we know that the word works. The laws we were given, that's perfect. That's complete. That's whole, right? That's all we need, really. And then we know that the word is tried. The word is true. Like, he declared the end from the beginning, and none of these have yet failed, right? None of these have yet failed. We know
Bring
that
that
this
out.
word is true. We know that this word works. that is that's the law that we follow. We cling to the law that was given to our fathers from our God. Get 30. What you
32.
call it? Salaki 30. Yeah.
32.
Yeah, Baba Kasha.
Khan. This book of 2 Samuel, chapter 22, verse 32. For who is God save the Lord? And
Right
who is
there.
a
Who is our power? Who is our power but Yahweh? Right?
Khan?
Keep going. Had to emphasize that. Who is God?
Khan.
Who is our power but Yahweh? You know what
That
I'm saying?
part, the etymology of it, it makes it so much more clear. That's a beautiful point to emphasize, right?
Okay.
For who is God save the Lord? And who is a rock save our God?
Right. And that word God has that word rock has so many meanings. We know that that rock is our safety, right?
Khan.
That's our that's our safe place. That's our protector. So I'm saying it has so many implications. And our power is that rock for us. And his way is perfect. That's why we trust in that. Now let's just bring it on home with 33.
Khan. God is my strength and power, and he maketh my way perfect.
So in 31 it says his way is perfect. When you trust in your God and your power and you follow the law, statutes, and commandments that he left for you, then him being perfect and the law he gave you being perfect will make your way perfect. And that's the law that we keep, and they can keep the laws of their land. And as long as I'm not jeopardizing my freedom or my health or the safety of my family and my people, then I will abide by their laws. But on the day that I have to pick and choose, I'm going to always choose to keep his laws. That's all I got.
Beautifully put, King. And look, it was a, a pin in it, as they say, right? All praises. Shout out to Dakar, Sakari
Okay.
LBC SF, right?
What?
Coming in here at the last minute, throwing the last strike. But yeah, Apayak, that was a beautiful precept to bring out, to put a pin in it, right? You know what I'm saying? It's a beautiful lesson. We right at the 2 hour mark, so we're gonna wrap it up. Um, we appreciate everybody for stopping by, and like I said, we do this for you. We love you. If it's on your heart, right, go ahead and hit that. You know what I'm saying? You could support the ministry by you could use the super chat. If you're watching after it's recorded, you could do super thanks, super stickers, or right there as you see on the banner below, right? The banner below down there, you could do send a cash app to $Bazak. You see what I'm saying? He said one on time flight. Hey, the flight arrived on time, right? Look, Apiyak got me dialed in to the right coordinates. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have to taxi as much. You see what I'm saying? Right. So look,
Oh,
all praises, right? So look, with that, hey, like I said, if it's on your heart, support the ministry, because look, you are our motivation and our elevation. Your support helps us take this platform to the higher levels, right? We couldn't do it without you, and we do it for you, and we couldn't do it without you. See what I'm saying? So the water, Mashpaka for tuning in again. And don't forget, join us on our late night Wednesday class, 9 o'clock Pacific time, right here on Sakari LBC Wolfpack YouTube channel. Couch Captivity Created, right? Where we're going to go more in depth in the topics and more in depth into discussions. You see what I'm saying? Shalom, Sister Zamara, right? Y'all hold it down, Mashpaka. And with that, I'm going to say, Call Halal, Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, and Shalom.
Shalom, saints.